Tension has been escalating between Turkey and the Netherlands following the refusal to allow the Turkish Foreign Minister to land in the Netherlands. Another Turkish minister was also barred by the Dutch, sparking protests overnight and a war of words on Sunday. CGTN's Michal Bardavid reports.
Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut intended to speak to a large group of Turkish citizens in the Netherlands over the weekend. But the Netherlands cancelled his permit to land, citing security concerns. The Turkish official took it as a diplomatic slap to the face. It marked the beginning of a diplomatic crisis between the two old allies who in 2012 celebrated 400 years of diplomatic relations. When his second Turkish minister traveling to Rotterdam was denied entry to the Turkish consulate and sent to the German border, matters became worse. Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Çavuşoğlu arrived in France on Sunday for a public appearance where he spoke to reporters. Çavuşoğlu emphasized that the actions taken by the Dutch government were completely against international laws.
Dutch authorities blocked our minister as she was entering the consulate building. Vienna Convention is clear. That building is Turkish territory. It is our consulate. And since our ambassador was in Ankara, my ministers are not allowed to enter our own consulate. Our consul general, who was inside the building, was not allowed to go out. This is a complete breach of the Vienna Convention.
He was not the only one infuriated. Hundreds of Turks gathered in Rotterdam to protest the Dutch government's actions. Clashes erupted between the Dutch police and demonstrators. Riot police were seen beating some of the protesters and later used water cannons to disperse the crowd. There were demonstrations in Istanbul and Ankara overnight as well. Protesters were chanting Recep Tayyip Erdogan and threw eggs at the Dutch embassy in the Turkish capital. Officials emphasized Turkey would retaliate in the harshest way possible. Previously, President Erdogan had mentioned sanctions could be imposed following next month's referendum. In a conference meeting on Sunday, Erdogan assured his supporters the Netherlands had yet to receive Turkey's response.
You will pay the price. You will pay the price. We haven't started to take the necessary steps yet.
Meanwhile, the Dutch Prime Minister stated the Netherlands is willing to de-escalate the tension, but remarks by the Turkish president that compare the Dutch to Nazis were not seen by some as helping the situation. Michal, Bardavid, CGTN, Istanbul.
And we can go now to Natalie Carney for more on this developing diplomatic row. She's joining me live from Istanbul. Natalie, Turkey has threatened to retaliate. So this diplomatic row between Turkey and the Netherlands is likely to escalate. What happens now?
Well, there hasn't been any sort of official word or statements made as far as the retribution Turkey intends to take. As that package mentioned, though, the president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, has been using some rather harsh words, comparing the Dutch, likening the Dutch to Nazi fascists. As well, Erdogan has said that it will definitely pay the price for its actions. Only a few hours ago, Ankara did summon the Dutch charge d'affaires to talk about this situation. Sanctions, as mentioned as well, could be imposed, according to the president, following the referendum next month here in the country. As well, there has been some talk in relation to not allowing the Dutch national airline KLM to land in the country. This, of course, is in direct relation to the Dutch not allowing the Turkish foreign minister's airplane to land in their country. Erdogan is demanding a letter of apology from the Dutch, but the Dutch PM is saying that apology is not going to happen, and instead asking Turkey for that apology for that reference to the Nazis. So it's certainly not de-escalating, as both parties, I'm sure, would like to see it happen. And for two countries that have held diplomatic relations for over 400 years, it is quite concerning to see it reach this level.
So the situation is not de-escalating, Natalie, but is it possible, though, for the two sides to be reconciled? And what are the efforts being done, though, to help cool the growing tension?
Well, I think the timing of all this is rather interesting. Both countries are going to the polls in one way or another in the coming weeks. And sort of the cards that both sides are playing really sort of play into favor of all that. The Dutch, of course, are going into general elections on Wednesday. And sort of right-winged protectionist sentiment is really increasing across Europe. So this sort of hard stance against Turkey could very well be playing into the favor of the current Prime Minister in the Netherlands. Likewise, here in Turkey, Erdogan's stance, Erdogan's rhetoric of sort of nobody bullies Turkey is very much playing into the hands of nationalist sentiment here across the country, and quite possibly helping boost support for the yes camp when referendums come here in on April the 16th, which could lead to improved or increased powers, I should say, for the Turkish president. As well, there is a lot of sort of non-traditional Erdogan supporters that are really seeing Europe's actions as kind of double standards. So that too is also playing into favor of Erdogan. So I think the timing of all this is quite interesting, and we'll sort of see how relationships develop, or a better sense of how they will develop following both the general elections in the Netherlands and the referendum here in Turkey.
Natalie Kani in Istanbul, thank you.